The Western Conference Finals just completely changed. The Oklahoma City Thunder get blown out 103 to 82 in game 4 by the San Antonio Spurs, and now the series is tied 2-2 heading back to OKC. But the game wasn't just about this final score. This was about the tone, the physicality, and this was really about Victor Wembanyama announcing himself on the biggest stage in basketball, because from the opening tip, Wemby controlled everything, 33 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. And honestly, the stat line doesn't explain how dominant he felt in this game. 24 seconds into the game, Wemby drilled a deep three. 1 minute later, he blocked Chet Holmgren at the rim, like what would be a guaranteed dunk for any other player. And right there, that was where the tone was set. And then at the first half, Wemby hit that half court buzzer beater from the Spurs logo. That shot pretty much blew the roof off the arena, and San Antonio never really looked back after that. The Thunder never came close, and the Spurs came into this game pretty angry after being embarrassed on their home court in game 3. According to Darren Fox, Gregg Popovich actually addressed the team in the locker room afterwards, something he hasn't done all season. That moment clearly lit a fire under this team, because San Antonio has looked desperate from the jump in this game. They pushed pace, they played physical defense, they pressured the ball, and defensively they completely swarmed SGA, the Thunder, offensively. And Stephon Castle definitely deserves credit here. Castle, Fox, Vassell, Harper. The Spurs basically threw waves of defenders at SGA, and OKC really couldn't get past the perimeter defense. Wemby was waiting for them as well. I just felt like San Antonio just made things a lot more scary. And man, they're just not relying on one superstar. The defensive structure has become elite. The Thunder scored only 82 points in this, shot 33% from the field. They went 1 for 11 from 3 in the first half. Only one made 3. That's pretty insane for an offensive team like the Thunder. And honestly, the Spurs deserve all the credit, because unlike game 3, they didn't let OKC dictate the physicality. They hit first. The Thunder really never responded. There was literally a stretch in that first quarter for about 5 minutes without scoring, and Wembanyama alone outscored the Thunder early 11-8. And I feel like that's just absurd. All these things that I'm mentioning as a Thunder fan, just ridiculous. And I think one of the big key takeaways, OKC were physical and dominated in game 3. San Antonio did the same thing and flipped the momentum in game 4. And now this series is starting to feel like a 50-50 series. And Wembanyama is also looking like the best player in this matchup. It's a huge statement considering SGA is a 2-time MVP, but Wemby's impact defensively changes kind of the geometry on the floor. OKC players are hesitating at the rim. Shooters are being rushed. Passing lanes are starting to disappear on them. And offensively, he's scoring from deep threes, transition, face-ups, putbacks, rim pressure. You pretty much name it, he's getting it. And we have really no answer. I mean, that's kind of the scary part for the Thunder. There's a lot of things that we can game plan in terms of how to get Chet more involved. Obviously, get some of our players healthier, get SGA more involved on the offensive end, but Wembanyama is getting comfortable every single game, and the series is tied 2-2, so I'm not going to try to overreact. We have home court. Game 5 is in OKC, and we've seen this team bounce back after ugly losses like this, even into last season's playoffs. And so it feels like a massive game. I'm obviously not going to overreact. I guess they would be still one win away if the Spurs were to win game 5, but it just depends if they can steal this game. I feel like OKC is kind of facing, both teams are kind of facing elimination in the next couple games. And Wemby is definitely one of the hottest players on the planet. Obviously, Brunson's doing his thing. And I feel like momentum has definitely shifted. The questions are really going to be from, I feel like, fans. How does OKC respond? One, try to get J-Dub on the court. We know AJ is going to take a little bit longer. J-Dub is deemed day-to-day, so hopefully he returns. If he doesn't, then we have to solve the problem of SGA getting to the basket, getting better looks, getting better drives. Right now, they played him a little bit more straight up, except for when he drove into the lane. They double up on him. So he's got to make quicker decisions and operate on certain parts of the floor. And they just spend a lot of time trying to get him the ball when he's off the ball. And that's great that, they're playing one-on-one so well. But I feel like there has to be a response to the lack of double teams at the half court. They've kind of gone away from that altogether. And things SGA can do is kind of use one side of the court to isolate himself with a defender. I know this is a strategy that LeBron uses quite often. Pretty much you put 4 players on one side, clear out that side, and get the ball to SGA. He posts up, does whatever he wants. And if they send someone underneath, he's good enough to make mid-ranges. I haven't seen that type of play call from Mark in general for SGA. I know we do that for the go-ahead buckets in, I believe, game 1. When we lost, there were some clear-out situations, but we need to do more of that for isolation for SGA. I feel like we got to make them choose. Are they going to go guard the other players, or is Wemby going to be down there to try to stop SGA from driving or pretty much doing whatever he will against the one-on-one matchup? He's got to win the one-on-one matchup against Castle to really regain control of this series, because currently it feels like Wemby has control of it. He's had the better, not just stat lines, but I feel like pace-wise, like he's controlled 2 games now, and SGA's controlled 2 games now with kind of their adjustments. Obviously, SGA over those past 3 games, he had averaged 11 assists on like 2.3 turnovers. And in this one, he had a couple more turnovers, not enough assists. And obviously we had a lot of misses in this. We had a lot of open shots. So hopefully guys like Caruso, Jay will hit their shots. And so those are the things that we can kind of make as far as adjustments. But the main piece is really, SGA. And the other piece is, can Chet figure out the matchup offensively against Wemby? Because Chet needs to get more involved. I feel like one of the things I suggested is getting Wemby into pick and roll situations against SGA. SGA is a little quicker to, against Wemby. So that matchup would be great. And then you'd get a guard like Castle trying to guard Chet Holmgren. I think that'd be favorable both ways for us. And so I'd love to see more pick and rolls involving Wemby. You guys are probably thinking like, why would you do that? It's mainly to get the guard switched on to Chet so he can take advantage in the post. And then that kind of makes Wemby have to choose, is he going to guard Chet down low, or is he going to come up to guard SGA? And that gets both of our top 2 players involved that are healthy right now. And can the Thunder role players finally make shots against this defense? I feel like the adjustment of playing everyone man-to-man, that's really what it's going to come down to. Will the role players actually hit their open shots, even contested shots? We know in the regular season that's been up and down in terms of this season. So it's really going to be game to game. Maybe at home we'll have a little bit better opportunity, even with some contested shots, that will do a little bit better with the crowd. But that's a question I can't answer. That's up to the guys to hit their shots. And the last one, are we kind of witnessing the official arrival of Victor Wembanyama as the face of the league? I feel like if they had lost the last game, I would have said like maybe next year. They're still a year away. Obviously, he'd won DPOY. He was in the conversation for MVP. But if we had handily won 3-1 or finished the series in 5 or something like that, then yes. But now that this series is definitely going 6 games, maybe 7 games, I feel like if he's pushing us as a player that's so young in the league, then yes, he can definitely at least lay claim to it. And he could even win this series and actually say like, he could stamp himself as the face of the league, beating the 2-time MVP. So I want to know what you guys think on who wins game 5. Right now, I feel like Wemby has been the better player, maybe statistically, over the course of the 4 games. And then SGA has been really good in the 2 games that he's controlled from a playmaking and processing standpoint. If you guys like content like this, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'll have a pregame for game number 5 coming out here shortly.